Hi everyone, I was just looking at one of my old videos which I had made in 1986. It's called World Predictions till the year 2017, and it was done in two parts. The first one went till 2002 and the second one till 2017. This is the first part of it, and what's remarkable, a lot of the events that happened and the divine logic, that divine truth is so simple out there, astrological truths. I've just increased the volume because some of the major events are still happening, because this takes you right to the end of 2017. I'm sure you'll gain a lot of knowledge from that. So here it is. Hi everyone, I made some predictions in 1986 which were absolutely remarkable because of simplicity and the reasoning behind events. And the credit is, it's not mine, it's just the astrology itself I'm talking about that is such an amazing, the divine science might say. So I've given all the reasoning for it, and here are the interpretations. And I'm just redoing the original PDF that I made in 1986 in my newsletters, and here's just an overview of the whole thing. Now starting with Pluto, and you can see I've given the reasoning of it. On the left hand side it says radical changes, oil, wars, revolutions, global events, and anything which affects the masses, and fated events like life, death situations, etc. At the top I've given a timeline from 1986 right till 2002. And there were a lot of events that I predicted in 1986 that were all culminating around November of 1995. And this line that you see here. So here we said OPEC redefined. The important ones were end of dictatorships and apartheid. But the major thing was in South Africa, because we had a lot of that apartheid at that time, so nobody had seen this one. So and apartheid, and this is because Pluto was in sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is the major changes like that, and dictatorships and all that, all the cruelty, and so that's all Scorpio theme. And Scorpio also was oil, that's why. Now changes in Russia, leading to end of communism by November 1995. And of course this happened exactly around that time. And some of the important ones here, the Berlin Wall dismantled and superpower bases dismantled in the Middle East and all that. That's exactly what happened November 1995. There was a final Middle East slowdown. We didn't have peace yet, because I was expecting with that Sagittarius theme and end of communism by November 2008. Actually, we did have quite a few. The major aspects finished by November 9, 2008. The U.S. bases formed in Mideast till 95, and stealth bomber used. Now, we had not even seen what the stealth bomber looked like at that time. We didn't even know about anything, but just because that Pluto Scorpio theme and terrorism rises, which of course it did. Now, there was a San Francisco earthquake also that we had predicted at that time. Then new social order in Romania, Poland, Hungary, and China. All of these things happened. Now, we had felt that, of course, the Intifada leading to Palestinian state, Middle East boundaries redefined. Palestinian state they did start, they don't have the state yet, but they did start the charter and everything at that time. And off that, when Pluto went to Sagittarius, where it said about the religion being redefined, major reforms in the church and end of fundamentalism, and global television networks between North America, Europe, and Japan break cultural barriers and allow mass education. This was, I think, one of the most important ones, because we predict the mass communication, which is exactly the advent of the internet. So this mass education I was talking about, online education as such, this all started from November 1995, exactly when internet started. And the major reform of the education system leading to better forms of education. All these things happened. Now I said first, missions outside our solar system, it's actually within solar system, actually it's not outside solar system, but we had all the NASA themes. The Neptune, all the environmental cleanup issues that we had predicted, which of course happened with all the Exxon Valdez and all, and major oil and chemical spills. This is all before. We had actually predicted way before. And the use of chemical weapons, all that which happened also. And then ban on chemical weapons by November 1995, and these things did happen. The use of perfumes to alter mood at work, and major environmental cleanups, and all these things, and fragrances linked to memory sites in the brain, which they did actually. And also the animated age of the movie. This was, I thought, very interesting, because Neptune was in Aquarius, all the digital technology, then later on went to Pisces. It was in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is all the industries and all that. That's where the cleanups in the ocean, all that, and all that's Neptune. When it went to Aquarius, I coined the expression animated age of movies till 2012. And this way, of course, Pixar and everything that came up. And all this part that you see here from 98, 99, all this part till 2012, that was all because of one man, which is Steve Jobs and Apple computers. Because everything I'm describing, I was describing as chart, Aquarius Pisces theme. So creativity and inspiration combined with high tech, electronic mood alteration and 3D effects and slides used for education, because we had none of these before that time. Holography and commercial use. Now, we did predict the technology, but they haven't really used as much. Then with Uranus, which also inventions, and the educational videos, the electric car developed, the Challenger disaster that happened. These are all same themes, which it hadn't happened, of course. And also manufacturing integrates robotics, which did. Then the turning point of the space age technology, this is from 96 onwards. My predictions are a bit earlier. I'm finding that they actually have all of these things done, but by the time it comes to the market, it's a bit later. So turning point of the space age era, and the cellular technology used for road maps. Of course, we did have all the GPS. So the new major advance in nuclear and atomic technology and all the robots playing music. And then Saturn. So with Uranus, there was all the new technology, a break from the past, and iPhone coming at that time. Then Saturn is the embargoes, laws, and regulations, and shortages, and rations, and curbs, and industry. That's all Saturn. In the sign of Sagittarius, now this was a very interesting one because I was hoping for, and I'd also predicted, the smoking bans in most commercial airlines. Airlines, all mass transportation, all Sagittarius, in public places, which is exactly what happened. The US-Canada free trade happened. The stock market crash, I predict that's one in 1986, about the 87 October crash. But I'd also said before that there'll be evangelist scandals. And of course, Jim Baker scandal broke up first because Sagittarius is also a sign of religion and all the evangelists. And Saturn is a restriction. When you do something wrong, you get caught. So when people take advantage of that. And so fundamentalism was on the rise. Evangelist scandals happened. And then the stock market, you can see the timeline, by the way, where I've actually placed it. This is very important also. And if you go to part 2, you'll notice under Uranus when it went to Pisces, the beginning and the end, the 7-year period, I predicted both the beginning, the tsunami, and the major tsunami, the end. So the end was 11th March, of course, and the beginning was the Sumatra one that happened exactly when Uranus went to Pisces. Upheavals, Pisces, the ocean. So you can see in the part 2, it's quite clear there. So the reasoning I'm giving it also, it's not just, putting out the head. Many of the psychics try to do that, and all the phony people, they just put all kinds of things. But this is actually reasoning behind it. It's just that it is so simple. The divine nature is always very, very simple. So it's not an easy thing. It's just like a Mac. When you're using it, it requires a certain amount of genius almost to use it. Now, the major archaeological discoveries, of course, we had in Jerusalem and all that. A new sea life form discovered by 1995. Now, genes for arthritis, Alzheimer's, cystic fibrosis, and MS discovered leading to cures. Now, all this part has happened, but it's still going on. So by the time it comes out, of course, there are all kinds of regulations and all. We went to Aquarius, and all these strict advertising guidelines. Magnetic trains, of course, came in, and all advanced in cellular and the telecommunication technology. Of course, it was a major boom that happened that time. Remember, we are doing this in 1986, and none of this was here, the commercial, all the solar technology, etc. Then we went to Pisces, the creativity, along with Saturn. We harnessed that 3D animation, emphasis on analog signals and ban on alcohol, commercial holography used for medicine and movies, that. And then when we went to the sign of Aries, it's all the aviation, etc., Wright brothers, these type of things. So a new aviation, a record set for speed, and which, of course, would happen. And pioneering technology in spacecrafts and mass transport facilitated by new inventions and metallurgy. There's also Aries theme. Then went to Taurus, and the collapse of the ancient structures leading to at least major restoration works. Of course, the Buddha theme, all that happened. Revival of traditional values and culture. When I went to Gemini, actually, the advanced linguistics and the international language, of course, they did start with that. And the last one was Jupiter, which is the growth and the gains and the expansion and opportunities and prosperity. So the first one in Pisces, when it went to Pisces, there was an increase in psychic phenomena, which happened. And then the real estate boom, which is 88, 89, exactly around the time that we have said, with that Jupiter being the sign of Taurus, the sign of real estate and land. And then it went to Gemini and Cancer. When it was in Cancer, interesting, where it is in 2014 also, boom in the food chains, new Mac in Moscow. The first Mac was in Russia at that time. And then right after that, when it was in Leo, same as July of 2014. The same theme is coming back till July of 2015. That's gold up. So gold will definitely go up in price. Monarchy gets a PR. And Hong Kong and the Arab buyers that raised the UK real estate, all that part that happened. When it went to Virgo, of course, the silver went up and the conservatives were in power. And then it went to Libra, and liberals were in power. And 2016, November, of course, Jupiter goes back into Libra. So again, liberals in power. If it was a bit earlier, it would have been conservatives, but again, you'll have liberals in power. In other words, the Democrats. The major peace treaty is signed. That's also the Jupiter being the sign of Pisces, like Vietnam when it finished, it was all the Pisces theme. Then we had talked about the global databases and all that's in Sagittarius, and quite interesting aspects in the mass publication, of course, and then the commercial real estate boom. See, the same themes will happen now for the next several years, which you can see in my 2017 in part 2, of course. So the commercial real estate goes up when it's in the sign of Capricorn and increase in the corporate buildings. And then new social theories when it goes into Aquarius. This happened in 1988. And went to Pisces. Very, very spiritual period. So the boom in the perfume industry and the psychic phenomena again happened. Same as it happened in 1986, 87. So this is also coming up. And then here I've written about the Taurus also. In 2000, there was supposed to be a major real estate boom. It did happen, but not as much as the 88. And of course in Taurus you'll find a lot of earthquakes also and mining disasters. So I thought I'd make a new video for this one because I just thought I came across this aspect after a long time. From 1986 I made these predictions. They're absolutely incredible how simple they are. And again, I'm not praising myself, I'm praising astrology. Astrological principles. So you just look at the planets, what they mean, and the timeline at the top, and what sign it is in. That's all you need to do. And the repeating cycles. For example, here is Jupiter in the sign of Leo. In 1991, the gold went up, monarchy, there was a lot of PR at that time. Same thing's coming back in 2014, July 2014 till 2015. Exactly the same aspect. And then goes into Virgo, silver goes up in price. Then goes into Libra, liberals in power. So the same thing, then oil prices are going up, and the major oil discoveries when it goes into Scorpio. So the themes are absolutely fantastic, and I thought anyone who's interested in astrology also would make you understand this better. So this is your astrologer, Hassan Jaffer. And if you get a chance, do listen to the part 2 as well. You'll really enjoy that. I wish you the best.